It's the semifinals with Buckingham Browne Nichols School. Taking on Mansfield High School. That's next on High School Quiz Show. Hi, everybody, and welcome to High School Quiz Show. I'm Joe Hansen, your host. The competition is getting tighter and tighter, and today we head into the semifinals with Buckingham Browne and Nichols from Cambridge and their neighbor to the south, Mansfield. We start, as always, with the toss-up round. All answers are worth 10 points. There are no point deductions for wrong answers, and players, you may confer. Okay, teams, if you're ready, good luck. Here we go. With the adoption of the Declaration of Independence, the 13 American colonies severed their political connections to Great Britain on July 4th of what year? Andreas?
1776.
Correct. Beginning in 1850 and ending in 1864, the Taiping Rebellion was a failed attempt to overthrow the Qing dynasty in what country? Yuyan?
China.
Yes. In 2025, the U.S. government asked a judge to break up what tech company by forcing it to sell its popular Chrome web browser? Shreyas?
Google.
Yes. Galaxies are classified into four main shapes: elliptical, lenticular, irregular, and spiral. Which type is the Milky Way galaxy? Soham?
Spiral.
Yes. For our next question, take a look at your monitors. Pictured here is a lion named Trigvi. He lives in what national park in Tanzania, known for having one of the world's largest annual animal migrations? Andreas?
Serengeti.
Serengeti National Park is right. In The Devil Wears Prada 2, what celebrated American actress reprises her role as fictional fashion editor Miranda Priestley? Andreas?
Hathaway.
No. Mansfield, you have a chance. Soham?
Meryl Streep.
Meryl Streep is right. What best-selling novel by Shelby Van Pelt tells the story of a widow who forms an unlikely friendship with Marcellus, a surprisingly intelligent octopus? Dean?
My Octopus Friend.
No. Mansfield, you have a chance. Patrick?
My Octopus Teacher?
No. That novel is Remarkably Bright Creatures. The Triple Crown of Motorsport is the Monaco Grand Prix, 24 Hours of Le Mans, and what American event? Shreyas?
The Daytona 500.
No. BB&N, you have a chance. Yuyan?
The Indy 500?
Indianapolis 500 is right. The fictional sea shanty Dead Man's Chest, also known as Yo Ho Ho and a Bottle of Rum, is from what adventure novel by Robert Louis Stevenson? Andreas?
Treasure Island.
Yes. Our next question comes from a special guest. Take a look at your monitors.
Hi, I'm Senator Warren. So congratulations to all the teams competing in this season of High School Quiz Show. Now, my dog Bailey often accompanies me on the campaign trail, and he's become a bit of a celebrity with his own Wikipedia page and his own Instagram account. So I have a question about dogs. One of the few breeds to have originated in the United States, what cross between the English Bulldog and the English Terrier is the official state dog of Massachusetts?
Josh?
The Boston Terrier?
Boston Terrier is right. Appointed U.S. Attorney General by his brother in 1960, who led the Justice Department to fight organized crime and work for civil rights for African Americans? Yuyan?
Robert F. Kennedy?
That's right. Which biome is the most diverse, having the greatest number of species of plants and animals? Temperate forest, tropical rainforest, or savanna? Shreyas?
Tropical rainforest.
Correct. Which U.S. state is known as the Hawkeye State, possibly as a tribute to Chief Black Hawk? Josh?
Ohio?
No. BB&N, you have a chance. Yuyan?
Iowa?
Iowa is right. Newcomer Owen Cooper won an Emmy for his role as a 13-year-old British boy arrested for murder in what Netflix series that unfolds in real time over 4 episodes, filmed as a single continuous take? Yuyan?
Adolescence?
Yes. In Greek tragedies, what six-letter word refers to the extreme pride that ultimately brings about the hero's downfall? Andreas.
Hubris.
Yes. We are off to a great start. Let's take a moment to thank the folks who make High School Quiz Show possible. Major funding for High School Quiz Show is provided by Safety Insurance.
It happens every day. Someone falls for a phishing scam. Cyber risk coverage from Safety Insurance is designed to help protect businesses from data breaches, ransomware, and other cyber attacks. Safety Insurance will help you manage life's storms, even the cyber kind.
Additional funding is provided by the Museum of Science, Massachusetts Teachers Association, Britebound, UMass Amherst, Subaru of New England, and Direct Federal Credit Union. Welcome back. The score is BB&N with 90 points. Mansfield has 50. Now let's get back to the game. The social world of honeybees is divided into queens, workers, and what third caste? Andreas.
Drones.
Yes. Birmingham, Alabama is home to the world's largest cast iron statue. The 56-foot tall statue depicts what Roman god of fire? Soham.
Hephaestus?
No. BB&N, you have a chance. Alec.
Festa.
No, we are looking for Vulcan. Vulcan is the Roman god of fire. Under the U.S. Constitution, which of the following has the sole power to bring impeachment charges against a federal official? The Supreme Court, the House of Representatives, or the Senate? Andreas.
The House of Representatives.
Yes. Protesting Hollywood's treatment of Native Americans, Marlon Brando declined the Oscar for his role as Vito Corleone in what 1972 film? Patrick.
The Godfather.
Yes. Football coaches can strategically use timeouts to manage the clock, stop momentum, or avoid penalties like delay of game. In the NFL, each team gets how many timeouts per half? Shreyas.
3.
Yes. With catchphrases like, Piper, no! What actress became a viral sensation for her exaggerated accent as a Southern matriarch on season 3 of The White Lotus? Patrick.
Parker Posey.
Yes. Sorry for the impression, Parker. One of the longest and bloodiest battles of World War I, the Battle of Verdun, took place in which country? Patrick.
France.
Yes. The main venue for the Australian Open is named after what tennis icon? The only man to win a calendar Grand Slam twice in 1962 and 1969. Shreyas.
Rod Laver?
Yes. Which of these Balkan countries is landlocked? Croatia, Serbia, or Albania? Alec.
Serbia.
Serbia is right. In the Disney animated film Alice in Wonderland, what identical twin brothers are depicted as chubby schoolboys who love reciting poems and rhymes? Yuyan.
Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
That's right. Played by Sigourney Weaver in the film Gorillas in the Mist, what American scientist studied the behavior of Rwanda's mountain gorillas from 1966 until her murder in 1985? Shreyas.
Jane Goodall.
No. BB&N, you have a chance. Andreas.
Smith.
No. We're always guessing Smith. That answer is Dian Fossey. Also known as the Strait of Istanbul, what Turkish strait is one of the continental boundaries between Asia and Europe? Alec.
Bosphorus.
The Bosphorus Strait is right. Quote, this isn't a kindergarten for amateur writers. In 1889, the editor of the San Francisco Examiner wrote this to what future author of The Jungle Book, asking him not to submit any more articles? Andreas.
Rudyard Kipling.
That is right. Condemned to death for conspiring against the liberty of the people and the security of the state, what French king was executed by guillotine in 1793? Soham.
Louis XVI?
Louis XVI is right. In an essay on the principle of population, what 19th century English economist predicted that natural population growth would inevitably outpace agricultural production? Yuyan.
Keynes.
No. Mansfield, you have a chance here. Soham.
Smith.
No. There is an old thinker named Smith, but we're looking for Thomas Malthus. And that is the end of the round, and the score is BB&N with 150 points. Mansfield has 110 points. Let's hear it for both teams. Last week, Weston beat Charlemont to move on to the semifinal. In today's match, Buckingham Browne Nichols and Mansfield are both looking to make it to the final. The head-to-head round is next, but first we're going to take a minute to get to know our players a little bit better. Always one of my favorite moments. And we do that with a question. BB&N. If an ice cream company wanted to make a new flavor in your honor, what would be the name, the ingredients, and why? Andreas, we'll start with you.
So I would name my custom ice cream the Dream Monster Fenway Park. We live in Boston, and it'll also be made of only green things, like green tea ice cream and mint, because I love tea and I love mint.
So none of that like really healthy green stuff like broccoli,
No.
spinach, none of that stuff's in there.
That's kind of weird.
Jan, how about you?
Yeah, so I'm gonna go with coffee and toffee and add a little bit of Celsius in the form of Italian ice in there because I feel like I'm usually a very mellow person as given by the coffee and toffee, but there's an occasional burst of energy in there, which I think the Celsius and the caffeine can help add.
You might be vibrating after you ate a cone of that one.
We'll see.
Dean, what's your flavor and why?
Mine's called Vanilla Bean Dean. It has some chocolate in it and like a lot of random candies and maybe some gummies on top.
You always get the good rhymes, Vanilla Bean Dean.
Nice name to rhyme with, I guess.
Alec, how about you?
I'd probably call mine like ginger tracks, like moose tracks. It'd be ginger flavored and it'd have like Reese's peanut butter cups in it.
Yeah, really, why ginger?
I don't know. I just feel very red.
All right. Also on the BB&N team, we have mascot Bucky, alternates Palin and Seth, and coaches Chip Rollinson and Sam Criffield. Okay, let's move over to Mansfield. Some other cool characters. What would be the name and ingredients of your ice cream, Soham?
Yeah, so I'd call mine snow ham. It will be a ham-flavored ice cream, but someone else will have to tell me if it tastes good because I'm vegetarian.
So you're gonna make an ice cream that you can't even enjoy yourself.
I'm sure other people will enjoy it, and I'm contributing to the world, hopefully.
There's probably vegan ham out there.
If you look hard enough, I'm sure I can find it somewhere.
Patrick, what about you?
I think I called mine the Patty Supreme. That's because Shreyas and we run the table tennis club at our school, and Marty Supreme just had a big moment, and that's about table tennis. So I feel like it fits my mojo, and I think it would just be pure orange. Like you wouldn't know the flavor, just pure orange like the ping pong ball, and you have to guess what it is.
It could be different every time. It's it's a bit of a risk. You're gonna keep it to cool flavors, or are you gonna surprise people with anything weird in there?
I mean, there's a lot of surprises in Marty Supreme, so I think there should be a lot of surprises in Patty Supreme.
All right, Shreyas.
So it's a running joke in my family that whenever we get ice cream, I am the most plain person. I always get vanilla. I call it being a purist, but they like to say I'm boring. So my flavor would be the cone dalla, and it would just be vanilla, but extra vanilla. It would taste even less like anything. It would just be almost like snow in your mouth. It would be amazing.
Amazing. You know what you like. Stick with your passions. Don't let anybody change who you are.
Exactly.
Josh, how about you?
So, as you know, I'm a history fan, and of course, I'm going to name my ice cream flavor after a president, and it's going to be called the Roosevelt, and it's going to taste like bison, because he loved bison steak.
Now, I did not see that one coming. Are there grassy notes to go along with that?
Yeah, of course.
It's a little musty, very savory, not a traditional ice cream flavor. What color would that be?
Probably like brown, maybe look like chocolate.
A lot of little kids are going to get disappointed by that. Rounding out the Mansfield team, our mascot, Sting, alternates Vetter and Jacob, and coach Ken Barrett. Let's hear it for both teams. It's time to go head-to-head. In this round, correct answers add 10 points to the team total, and wrong answers result in a 10-point deduction. The clock is set at 90 seconds. How about a handshake to start us off? All right, good luck. Here we go. Most of Lake Champlain lies in which New England?
Vermont.
Yes. In 1994, who became the first democratically elected president of South Africa?
Nelson Mandela.
Yes. What central part of a church is named after the Latin?
Steeple?
No, nave. What was the 48th and last of the contiguous states to be admitted to the Union, also known as the Lower 48? Arizona. On the Celsius temperature scale, what is the boiling point?
100?
Yes. What U.S. city is home to Independence Hall and the Liberty Bell?
Philadelphia.
Yes. Who is the only American founding father born in the Caribbean on the island of...
Alexander Hamilton.
Yes. Often caused by a viral infection, what contagious condition is also known as pink eye? Conjunctivitis. Which pop star had a #1 hit with Oops, I Did It Again?
Britney Spears.
Yes. A limerick is a short, humorous poem consisting of how many lines? 5. The ancient city of Carthage is located in what?
Tunisia.
Yes. What one-word state motto of California means I have found it in Greek? Eureka. Mulligatawny soup originated in what country? India. Which metal has the chemical symbol PT?
Tin.
Platinum. What monument on the National Mall in Washington, D.C. is the world's tallest obelisk?
Washington Monument.
Yes. The Ring of Fire is a volcanic and seismic... We were looking for the Pacific Ocean on that one. That's the end of the round. Let's take a look at the score. BB&N has 180 points. Mansfield has 140 points. Let's give it up for both teams. All right, it's time for the category round. Today's categories are night moves. This might sting a little. Know the lingo. Aztec me anything. The Empire Strikes Out, and all that jazz. All categories have 5 questions with increasing point value. Teams will choose 2 categories each and have the option to toss 1 question per category to the other team. The other team must answer. Players, you are able to confer. Okay, BB&N, who's your spokesperson? Andreas? Mansfield, how about you? Patrick. All right, Mansfield, you have a little ground to make up. First category goes to you.
The Empire Strikes Out.
The Empire Strikes Out. These are questions about rebellions against empires. For 10 points. Published in January 1776, when most Americans were hoping for a reconciliation with Britain, what pamphlet by Thomas Paine argued for independence in clear and forceful language?
Common Sense.
That's right. For 15 points. In 1930, who challenged British colonial rule in India by leading a 24-day march against the British salt monopoly?
Gandhi.
Correct. For 20 points. Fought from 1954 to 1962, the Algerian War was a brutal conflict that resulted in Algeria's independence from what European country?
France.
That's right. For 25 points, in The Empire Strikes Out. At the 1896 Battle of Adwa, what African country resisted colonization with a crushing victory against invading forces from Italy?
Ethiopia.
Yes. For 30 points. Toussaint Louverture was a prominent leader in what country that became the first independent black republic in 1804 after overthrowing French colonial rule?
Haiti.
That's right. Okay, BB&N, your category.
We're going with Aztec me anything.
Aztec me anything. These are questions about Mexico. For 10 points. Used to make tortillas, tamales, and other dishes, what staple crop was a central part of Aztec culture and even had its own deity? Cinteatl.
Corn.
That is right. For 15 points. Which U.S. state shares the longest border with Mexico?
Texas.
That's right. For 20 points. A climate scientist by training, who was elected Mexico's first female president in 2024?
Sheinbaum.
Claudia Sheinbaum. That is right. For 25 points, popularly said to derive from the French word for marriage, what type of traditional Mexican folk music is usually performed by strolling musicians in native costumes?
Mariachi.
That's right. And for 30 points, in Aztec Me Anything, a national holiday on September 16th honors what Catholic priest and revolutionary leader known as the father of Mexican independence?
Hidalgo.
Miguel Hidalgo is right. Mansfield, next category to you.
We're going to go Know the Lingo.
Know the lingo. These are questions about foreign words and phrases. For 10 points. French for head-to-head. What phrase refers to a private conversation between two people?
We're going to pass this.
That term is tête-à-tête for 15 points. What large and often destructive wave means harbor wave in Japanese?
Tsunami.
Correct. For 20 points in Know the Lingo. Literally meaning time spirit, what German word refers to the defining mood or spirit of a particular era?
Zeitgeist.
Yes. For 25 points, French for false step. What two-word phrase refers to a mistake or social blunder?
Faux pas.
Correct. And for 30 points, Swedish for commission man. What word refers to a government official who investigates complaints about public services?
We're going to pass.
That term is ombudsman. BB&N, final category to you.
We're going with night moves.
Night moves. These are questions about the legend of King Arthur. For 10 points. Born to a human mother and a demon father, what powerful wizard serves as an advisor to King Arthur?
Merlin.
Yes. For 15 points, what magical sword returns to the Lady of the Lake upon the death of King Arthur?
Excalibur.
Yes. For 20 points, which knight has a love affair with Queen Guinevere that eventually leads to the fall of Camelot?
Lancelot.
Sir Lancelot is right. For 25 points in Night Moves. Although raised by another family, Arthur is actually the son of what legendary king of Britain?
We're gonna pass.
That legendary king was Uther Pendragon. For 30 points, variously described as Arthur's nephew or son, and generally understood as the villain, what major character kills Arthur during a bloody battle for the throne?
We'll pass.
That is Mordred. That is the end of the category round. The score is BB&N with 325 points. Mansfield has 300. Let's hear it for both teams. Okay, we're heading into the final round of play, the lightning round. Correct answers add 20 points to the team total, and there is a 20-point deduction for incorrect answers. The clock is set. Here we go. What city is home to One World Trade Center? Andreas.
New York City.
Yes. The Cassini division is a large gap in the... Soham.
Saturn.
Yes. What Pennsylvania town trademarked the phrase, the sweetest place on earth? Dean.
Hershey.
Yes. Who captains both the Major League Soccer club Inter Miami and the... Yuyan.
Messi.
Yes. The 1973 song Jolene is one of the biggest hits. Yuyan.
Dolly Parton.
Yes. The trade secrets of crooks are revealed in The Right Way to Do Wrong, a 1906 book by what famous escape artist? Alec.
Houdini.
Yes. Which part of a chicken egg is mostly calcium carbonate? Alec.
The shell.
Yes. The Life of Chuck is a novella by what author best known for his horror stories? Yuyan.
King.
Yes. Which country is predominantly made up of Flemings and Walloons? Andreas.
Belgium.
Yes. Between 1966 and 1987, Rudolf Hess was the only inmate at what German prison that held Nazi war criminals? Spandau. With the 1854 Treaty of Kanagawa, what country effectively ended its 250... Patrick.
Japan.
Yes. A mega year is a unit of time equal to how many years? Andreas.
1,000.
No, 1 million. Amid a youth-driven cultural shift, London was first described as swinging during which decade? Dean.
60s.
Yes. In chess, which piece may move only diagonally? Andreas.
The bishop.
Yes. In taxonomy, what major category lies between class and family? Andreas.
Order.
Yes. It rains about 170 days a year in... And the winning team this week is Buckingham Browne Nichols with a final score of 545 points. Mansfield finishes with 320 points. Congratulations to both teams for a great game. BB&N now moves on to the final, hoping to become the high school quiz show champion. Join us next week for our other semifinal match between Sharon and Weston. You won't want to miss it. Right here on High School Quiz Show.